I'm excited about you to hear from Netrio how they're winning with our partners. You have customers that kind of, start off with, hey, I'm gonna start with these guys from a NOC perspective in the off hours, and it goes really well, and then they start scaling up from there. So as you know your customer base the best, there's going to be some opportunities, whether it starts really, really small, that could turn into something big. So I think there's a nice opportunity here. I'll leave it at this. Netrio's winning with many of our partners, not just here in the South Central region, but nationally with AVANT. And I will tell you right now, from an SD-WAN perspective, we've got a gargantuan deal on the table. So they're winning in that arena as well on a very large scale. So set up time with these guys. If you're in Dallas, it's definitely worth the trip out to McKinney. They've got a very first-class organization. You've seen very first-class tools, and the first-class people is there as well, along with first-class solutions. So it's definitely worth the time if you're here, or if you're going to be in Dallas, set up time with them with your visiting, or get on the phone with them. So I think it's definitely worth that time. I've seen the ROI calculator in a lot of these tools firsthand over the last year, and extremely impressive. You at AVANT, we're big on tools, and that's what I love about Netrio as well, is these tools for you and your end user customers are absolutely amazing. I think for everyone here, we look forward to closing some deals together. So hey, here's the Netrio team.
Prior to me coming to Netrio, I've been in this crazy business now, I guess 28 years, and done everything from entry-level knocking on doors to leading sales marketing. But most recently, a lot of you guys might know me from leading sales and marketing at AMPI, leading sales at XO, and Global Crossing for a long run prior to that. I believe this is the best kept secret in the business. That was my conclusion 90 days in as an advisor. Give you the overview of Netrio. The company was founded in 2002 and actually invented the outsourced NOC model as we know it today for service providers. So when you think about outsourced NOC, that means anything from help desk, the answering the phones, logging the tickets, all the way up to tier 2. And Netrio can do it for any platform, any service provider, globally, domestic, and 24/7, 365, across 2 NOCs of which are located in Dallas and Austin. And if you've been selling a good blend of the suppliers in the AVANT portfolio, chances are damn near 100% that your customers are being supported by Netrio's NOC. So I got to know Netrio when I was at AMPI, and last 18 months before we sold the company, I was one of 3 folks leading the company as interim CEO. And during that process, for the first time in my life, I had operations rolling up to me. Those that know me as a sales leader kind of probably laugh at that, but did a crash course in NOC. Long story short, we did an RFP, down selected from 8 to 2 vendors, and we were looking at outsourcing our off hours and tier 1. And we ultimately landed after extensive due diligence on Netrio. It's the team, it's the tenure, it's the skills, it's the fact that this is an operation-centric team that cares. This team has been doing that and passionately cares. And the things that you'll hear common themes today are going to be, we make the complex simple. We help companies focus on their core business. If we do our job, that means that we do the difficult things to make it easier for you guys, and specifically in this community, to focus on selling and moving on to helping your customers grow their business. The last thing folks on this call want to be dealing with is installs that go off the rails, difficult customers. So with that, Chris, we'll hand it over to you.
And the flagship product that we're marketing to the channel is our VIGILANCE product, which is our NOC and managed IT services. So really got these broken out into 3 distinct categories. The first is outsourced NOC. That's traditionally been where the service providers, an MSP or VAR, or a very large multi-location enterprise would look to do some sort of a staff augmentation to their environment to take on some of the tactical things. So you'll see there really focused on tier 1, which are monitoring, alerting, remediation services, as well as carrier management, being able to own opening the ticket and working with the carriers agnostically to work that to resolution, and then providing that service desk behind it. So we're really handling the things that are very taxing and time consuming to them, which is kind of that tier 1, tier 2 stuff. The second section is managed IT. Those clients that are looking for things like desktop and server support. They want us to help them manage a firewall, an existing SD-WAN environment, Those are all opportunities to bring ESP to the table. Third is white label. So you want to be in charge of the sales and marketing. Your organization may already have an MSA in place, and because their procurement and contracts and legal departments are so rigorous with their processes and the time it takes, sometimes it's easier to work these products and solutions through an existing relationship. Vigilance is what drives the other three categories, which is agility. That's our SD-WAN as a service. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. We do also service UCaaS, contact center. SIP trunking, we do operate our own class 4 and class 5 switches. We do about anywhere from 100 to 120 million minutes a month in origination and termination traffic. So we do have capabilities to provide trunking in those environments. As well as on the Fusion side, we're a wholesale aggregator of connectivity. So if you're needing NOC and SD-WAN and the client's looking for someone to source their broadband and DIA, we're able to do that. We were engaged by a client who happened to sit in the manufacturing industry. They're a global company. Number one, they had gaps. Number two, some of the leaders within the IT organization had been there for some time, and they were actually trying to find their exit strategy. So they were looking to retire. They were looking for an organization that could take over the day-to-day operational support of their environment 24/7, 365. So they lacked expertise and staff in areas that were important to them, including security. The inventory and where they stored that inventory and how they kept up with their elements and assets and diagrams lacked quite a bit. There wasn't a defined process around that. There's a lot of spreadsheets and Visios and things that were not kept up to date, which is a very difficult process. And then of course responsiveness. I mean, when you don't have butts in seats watching alarm boards 24/7, it's very difficult to react properly, especially when things happen and things go bump in the night. Our approach to our IT and engineering team is really to go to folks. Holding a cert to us is not nearly as valuable as real world experience. We've been really fortunate that we've been able to acquire folks that are very knowledgeable across a lot of different fronts, right? So as you look at route switch and you look at security and firewalling and you look at our capabilities to move across and be agnostic through different OEMs, through different platforms, from a carrier management perspective, we've opened over 550 unique carrier tickets in our existence. That's a lot of different carriers that we've worked with. Our company is focused around operational support. We're looking to support someone operationally and then provide them with value propositions after the fact, right? So things like professional services, projects, things like that. Those are second to us, where a lot of our competitors are focused on only offering the operational support in order to get access to the projects and the professional services. The other solution that I wanted to highlight is our agility, which is our SD-WAN as a service. This is a big deal because we don't hone in on just one platform and one solution and try to make it a one-size-fits-all. We really looked at and evaluated the portfolio and chose 5 distinct platforms, which you all see there. So Versus, Silver Peak, VeloCloud, Cadence, InfoVista. They all serve a role and a purpose and have a value to the end client, right? So we have the expertise to be able to navigate you through what besides SD-WAN is in play and needs to be evaluated, because some of these platforms have, enterprise routing and security components and, and middle mile coverage for global networks. But know that you could ultimately go and evaluate multiple solutions, all by engaging Netrio, so that you don't have to ultimately work with 3 different suppliers in those environments. Once we identify that, we will do the deployment, we'll do the monitoring, and then the lifecycle management, so we'll fully manage those environments. A couple other things to highlight is we will take over management of an existing deployment for SD-WAN. We will also be happy to provide the procurement of those devices, meaning we'll sell the hardware, software, and then provide the professional services as long as they're doing the operational long-term support with us. And then the last scenario would be we own the hardware, we procure it, we configure it, we install it, and it's on us 24/7 to handle all the ins and outs of that particular environment. The Vigilance, we've created a process and a support structure where we're able to really quickly and easily navigate. Once you understand the 3 levels of support of ESP, from the basic, the pro, and the premier, it makes it very easy. for you to kind of work through these matrices, see what kind of level of support, and really get to the conversation quicker of how we can solve problems. I think one of the biggest things and value that we bring to the table is operationally how we support. Think of this kind of like a portal, almost like a middleware, where the client will have access to this, the partner will have access to it, we do, and so that everybody's got complete visibility into our different tools. Most of the clients that we take over have been doing it in-house for a long time, and a lot of these organizations are finally looking at the numbers and looking at the pain and heartache and time and energy and cost associated with that, and they finally have come to the conclusion that it's time to start looking at what an outsourced support structure looks like.